Yes then people, welcome back to the channel. If you clicked on this video, chances are you've either B-swapped a Civic and you're trying to get it running, or you're thinking of B-swapping one and you want to know what you're getting yourself into. I've just B-swapped this here. I think it's a 96 or 97 EG coupe. EG, EJ, EK, it's all the same. I did have a few issues getting this running. Turned out to be an immobiliser fault with the car, but I'm going to run through everything today. Everything you'll need to swap a B18 into an EG, EJ, EK. All the parts you'll need, what fits, what doesn't, how it all goes in. I'm going to walk you around the whole car and show you start to finish and any problems, just in case you're watching this, you're halfway through and you can't get your car running. I'm going to start by taking you inside the workshop to the whiteboard. I'm going to do a to-do list, everything you'll need and the steps that I've done this B-swap here, and then I'll take you outside, run you around the car, show you step by step how I've done this swap. Right, bits you're going to need to B18 swap your Civic. It's a lot less than you might think. I'm going to jot it all down here right now. So you're going to need B18. I use the C4, it's out of the MB6. If you're in the UK, MB6s are everywhere. You can pick them up quite cheap. They come in the estates, the Aerodeck estates. Yeah, so I use that, the B18 C4. I think the Integral uses them as well, but I'm pretty sure most of the B18s are the same, all but a few little bits and bobs. So B18 C4, it was a twin overhead cam VTEC. The solenoid had a single wire, so you could just have one wire coming out the VTEC solenoid. So I used the B18 C4 block, head and the gearbox. So imagine you're taking it straight out of the car, so manual one, block, head, gearbox, all in one. Just took that straight out. I didn't disconnect the engine loom. All I did, I'll show you on the car, there's a few plugs either side, but I left the harness on the engine, so you'll need the engine harness as well that comes with the B18. You won't need the interior harness or the key or anything if you do it the way I've done, but yeah, I just disconnected the plugs. I think there's 2 on one side, 3 on the other, disconnected them, put the harness on top of the engine and took it all out in one. So we've got the B18 engine gearbox, we've got the engine harness, engine mounts. So I use the B18 C4 mounts all the way around, and in the EG, EK and the EJ, they'll just go straight in. They'll bolt up all the way around. You've got 5. When you're fitting it, fit the rear mount before you fit the engine. I tried to get it in afterwards and it was an absolute pig. Did get it in, so I didn't want to pull the engine back out, but yeah, fit that rear mount first. So we've got engine block, engine harness, engine mounts. What else did I take? Gear shifter. So that's the 2 rods that run underneath. One of them bolts to the side of the gearbox, one of them goes on the selector to change the gear. Just took the whole thing down from the MB6 and it bolted straight up. All of this bolts straight in to the EG, EK and the EJ. It bolted in on the EG, as far as I'm aware. It bolts up to the other models from what I've read online. Might be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me down in the comments. But all of this stuff, I've just taken it straight off the Aerodeck and it's all just bolted straight on to the EG. Gear shifter, engine mounts. What else did I take? The power steering pump. The lines were different. The power steering line was different on the EG than it was on the Aerodeck. So I took the EG pump and the belt and then made a little bracket, just adapted my bracket to get that to fit, and then obviously the power steering line went straight on. Intake and everything. Intake was just, it's called a whale penis intake system. You can get them on eBay. That just bolted straight on, had a little bracket to come with it. Fuel lines went straight on. I haven't changed the fuel pump, and we've got VTEC crossover, it's pulling really well. So I personally didn't, I did buy an upgraded fuel pump, but I didn't upgrade my fuel pump. I just left the EG one in, and it is pulling fine. It does run amazing. Doesn't stutter or anything. So personally, if I did this swap again, I'd probably just leave the fuel pump in. The one that comes in the car, just put a fuel filter in it. Ignition, I left the keys and the ignition from the EG in there, and all the door locks and everything are still on the original ignition. Just the inside harness you don't touch, it just plugs in on the car, but I'll show you that in a minute. I'm pretty sure engine block, gearbox, engine harness, engine mounts, gear shifter, drive shafts, Drive shafts were from the aero deck and they went straight into the EG hubs. So I took the ones off the aero deck, they went straight in the box, obviously, because they're the drive shafts that came with the engine and box, and the splines went straight into the hubs on the EG. Brakes, I upgraded the brakes, but I didn't do the big brake upgrade kit. These brakes are performing absolutely excellently. So again, I'd probably run this setup if it were me. They were just they were drilled and grooved, like slotted if you want. Upgraded discs for the EG, just EG discs and upgraded pads. Can't remember the make. They were good. They might have been EBC, I'm not sure. But they were just a direct fit, and I'll just run the standard calipers with them. Just upgraded brakes on the standard EG calipers. Obviously that all just bolted on. Fuel lines again, they just bolted on. Used the EG ones, and a fuel pump, drive shafts. Headers was B18 headers, but exhaust you can knock that up yourself. You can use a mixture of both or take it somewhere and get it done. And that's ECU. So ECU, I used the P30. You can use a P28 or a P30. Make sure it's unlocked and it doesn't need a key reader. Some of them need a key reader. This one didn't. It plugs straight in. I only had to run one single wire for the VTEC, which I pinned out on the ECU, and then run it straight into the plug. But I'll show you that when we go outside on the car. But the ECU just plugs straight in, and had I not had the immobiliser fault, it would have just fired straight up. That's it. That's all you're gonna need. So you're gonna need. So from your donor car, you're gonna need the B18 C4. Excuse my crap handwriting. Blockhead gearbox, all in one if you're taking it out of the car. The clutch, that all just hooked up as well. Engine mounts from the same car from the aero deck. Gear shifter, the linkage underneath from the aero deck. Brakes, I just upgraded them. Drive shafts are from the aero deck, and a P30 or hang on, P28 ECU, and that will plug straight into the interior harness on the EJ. It did on mine. And I run one single wire from, because I've got a single wire VTEC solenoid. So I just found the pin in the ECU, got three blocks. I can't remember which pin it was. The single pin, I run that wire out into the bulkhead plug, and my engine harness already had that wire there. So I literally just run it from the ECU through the bulkhead and into the plug. But I'll show you the wire in a minute. I'll try and get a close up. So if you are trying to wire it up, you know what you're on about, but there's plenty online about that. But there isn't any start to finish videos. I take some of the wisdom and the stuff I learned through doing this build and just compile it all into one. If I can help one person to do this swap, then the video is a success. So we're gonna go outside and I'll show you around the car. So here we are. Show you under the engine bay. So again, engine harness I didn't touch. This is the original key for the EG, and the whole harness inside here I haven't touched. ECU's here behind the carpet, just plugs in, and you can see the I don't think you can see it here, this single wire here, this black one that's just run through the bulkhead, and that's the one that runs the VTEC. Yeah, shifter was MB6, just went straight in. A little bit of play in this one. I'd probably recommend getting a new bush when you swap it over. There's quite a bit of play when it's in gear, but it does still shift nice. But yeah, inside didn't really, other than plugging in the ECU and running the single wire, didn't have to touch nothing here. A lot of people online are saying you've got to take the dash harness, ignore them, you don't need it, because all you got to do is run a single wire for the VTEC. You don't have to touch any of this. You put the key in, all your lights will come on. I'll run through faults at the end, and if you're having trouble starting, there's a series of things you can check that, like, to eliminate things and how to get it running once you swapped it. So here we are. Mounts again. This mount, one down there at the front, you can see it underneath. That one there, this one at the front, and the one at the back, they were all off the aero deck and they went straight into the EG. Didn't need to touch nothing. Shifter from the back all the way, that just bolted up. I've got silicone hose kit off eBay, that all just bolted up. Whale penis intake, that bolted up. Fuel lines bolted up there. You saw the vac thing at the back, the canister, that's there. then the other fuel line's here and just runs back to the line that goes to the back. Plugs, so you've got these two plugs here, these two grey ones. You've got one with 2 wires and this bigger plug with, I think there's about 12 or 14 wires in that one. That's the EG side harness that plugs straight in to the B18 harness this side. This engine loom here runs underneath, you sort of see it down the back here, and then runs underneath into the other side, so they just plug straight in. And then on this side you've got 3 plugs on mine, and again they just plug straight in. So this side is the B18 Aerodeck harness, this side is the EG, it all just plugs straight in. And then if you see here, this black wire is next to the, you've got an orange and black, white with a yellow line, and then the VTEC one there. So if you see on this side, it's green with a yellow wire, then there's my black one, and that's what I've pinned out to the ECU to get the VTEC to fire up. So basically when the ECU gets to about 5,500, it will send current down this wire through this green and yellow one all the way around, and you'll see this green and yellow one here, this single plug, all that does is fire up the solenoid and does the VTEC crossover. So that was just one single wire to wire in the VTEC through that plug there, and that one goes back to the ECU. Exhaust was just 421 stainless headers I got off eBay, and then just run it to the back. Universal rad, it was for a B18, but again it went straight in, and I've used the EG fan which bolted straight up, and that just plugs straight in. Fan all comes on when it's running, and that's pretty much it. Power steering, that's the single cam power steering pump, and then I've just moved the brackets just to get that on. Belt all lines up nice, lines are all in, power steering's all good. That's pretty much it. Your plugs here, these will just go straight in underneath in your fuse box, they just screwed straight in. That was it for that side. I think that's pretty much it for the wiring. So now we'll talk about getting it running once it's in. Right, so we are back inside the car. When I bought the car, it didn't have a gearbox. The kiddie had nicked the manual swap out of it, and the engine was blown up anyway, so it wasn't running. It's got an immobiliser, I don't know if you can see it flashing there. He said to me when I bought it, don't worry about that mate, that's nothing to do with it. Here's the fob, but it doesn't do anything, so don't worry about it. So when I bought the ECU, I was told that the immobiliser was for the old ECU, so it's irrelevant. So I've bought an unimmobilised ECU, and could, basically when I was trying to get it running, let me put the key in quick. I was putting the key in, and you see now that orange light isn't going out. So if that orange light stays on, it means you've got an ECU fault. I was told that the immobiliser wasn't wired in, so I didn't think it was a immobiliser fault. So now you see I hold this fob on and you listen, you hear the click, and that's the fuel pump priming. So if you've got an immobiliser, or if you're not getting that light go off, that orange light there, you've either got an ECU fault, which means you've bought a duff ECU, or it's been damaged. Again, the stuff online, sometimes there's little solder things on the I think they're resistors, I think there's little resistors in there, then the solders crack. But if you've got an immobiliser, don't cross that off, because I spent 3 days trying to get this running, and all I needed to do was tap that on. So when I picked the car up and it was on the back of the truck, I just chucked this on the dash, forgot about it, because I was told that it didn't matter. But it turns out it did. Ollie turned up and said, mate, try that immobiliser, tap the thing on, and the light went straight out. But trying to get this running and trying to get that light out, there was a few things I checked that's, by the sounds of it online, seem to be common faults. So if you haven't got an immobiliser, your light won't go out and it won't start. I'm going to run through the things to check. So under here, try and get the camera on it. This here, there's a grey box just here. Let me get my light on quick. Right, so this grey box here with the brown plug in it, there's tests you can do online where you take the plug out and that you take the, basically that's the main relay. So you either try a new main relay or you take the plug out. So you either get a new main relay or there's tests you can do to basically that plug, that relay powers up the primes the fuel pump and then tells the ECU to try and start the engine, and the light goes out like you see when I put the immobiliser on. If you've got a duff relay, which they do go down quite often by the sounds of it, again they have cracked solder, you can take the cap off and have a look at the solder or just try another one. I've got an EK sat up the yard, I tried that didn't make any difference, and I know that's a good relay because that's a running car. So you'll either have ECU fault, if the light won't go out you'll have either ECU fault or that main relay, or the other problem is the earths. So you'll have, I've done them up here on the side of the inner wing. These earths here that go on the gearbox are the main ones for the ECU. Don't ask me how, but that's where the ECU earths out. These need loads of earth, so I've got these two here on the gearbox. I've put two on just to be safe. This was when I couldn't get it running, I just earthed absolutely everything just to try and get it running. So I've got two on here, and these are apparently the main ECU earths. You've got another earth here which is on your standard EG harness. Then I've put another one here coming off the rocker cover, and you can put another one here that goes back. Cleaned all these earths up as well for the battery. These are really temperamental with earths. If you haven't got your earths on, it'll give you a false reading for the ECU. Another test you can do if your light's not going out, a friend of mine that does Hondas, he said you basically put the key on and you just unplug all your sensors all around the inlet manifold one at a time, see if the light goes out. You take this sensor off, check it, put it back on, this sensor off, check it, put it back on, and then you've got your MAF sensor here, this grey one here, and then you've got your lambda sensor which is down the back underneath. You can get to it but I'm not going to be able to see it with a camera. You basically work your way around, and the injectors and the dizzy, work your way around unplugging it one at a time just to see if it does fire up. But yeah, as I say, engine bolted straight in, all the other stuff. Drive shafts were the Aerodeck drive shafts and they went straight into the EG hubs. You can see the upgraded brakes just in there, upgraded pads, painted the calipers just because why not. But yeah, everything essentially bolted up. Had I not had that immobiliser fault, this would have been in and running in probably a day, 2 days. Really easy swap. Fuel lines, everything just bolted straight on. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to see me building the car, there was a video I just put up a couple of weeks ago. Give that a watch, start to finish. Maybe you can pick up a few hints if you are trying to build your own. But yeah, hopefully this has helped someone. If you like the video, smash that subscribe button, helps me out, completely free to do, and I am doing a giveaway when I get to 10k. I'll pop another video up in the corner, give that a watch if you've got 5 minutes. Yeah, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.